I'm a pretty big consumer of content, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, reading books and articles, and looking at different things lately. And I feel like there's just a big gap in how many women are doing that. When I look at the podcast landscape, there's a lot of women who aren't on podcasts, certainly not hosting podcasts. I don't really have a name behind myself or a product, so I don't really feel like I could start a podcast that anyone would want to dedicate their time to be on, because there's nothing that would give them assurances that their time would be well spent. So in the meantime, I'm just going to talk about some of the things that I find to be really important and relevant and share those. And then perhaps someday I'll get to be on a podcast like Emma Greed's or Diary of a CEO or Modern Wisdom, something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. One of the things that I've noticed really affects the world we live in today, and I'm just feeling a little bit more convicted about diving into and exploring more, is relationships, personal and professional. I think when I think about the audience and the people who are listening to things and looking for content and getting ready to consume something or even publish something, one of the things that I looked for when I was going through a really rough time was any information that would be authentic and honest and like really dive in, but wasn't angry and emotional. So when I think about the population at large, 50% of the population who is married will get divorced. And we can make some assumptions. I know this doesn't stand true. It's definitely not. These are not numbers I've researched, but for the most part, out of 50% plus, I think it's even 57% of marriages end in divorce, about half of those are women. And I think that women have a really hard time being authentic about what divorce is, means, and does without being really, really angry or really, really sad. A lot of the material out there seems to lean one way or another in that. And so I want to share a bit about my experience around that, because I think it's holding us back from achieving what we could do, who we could be, which is pretty remarkable, pretty amazing. So those are some of the things that I'm feeling convicted of talking about, of exploring, of spending a little bit of time every day sharing about how relationships, especially the ones that women tend to stay in, are around stigma for the kids or economics. I'd like to unpack that a little bit. I'm a pretty big consumer of content, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, reading books and articles, and looking at different things lately. And I feel like there's just a big gap